this is a very special day for Channel 4 because for the past couple of months, we've been kind of watching the progress of going from one old piece of equipment to a new piece of equipment. And it's a privilege to meet you, Sergeant Robert Protzman, who, well, tell me what you do. Are you general, colonel, lieutenant?
I'm a sergeant with the Lansing Police Department, and I am one of the two supervisors in charge of the crime scene unit.
When we came as Channel 4 to the police department and said, hey, we understand you're going to get a new CSI unit, they said, well, you got to talk to Sergeant Protzman. So explain a little bit about, first of all, what you and your team do and why the tool behind you is so important.
Well, everybody knows after 9/11 that law enforcement did a lot of changing, and in the village of Lansing it changed a lot as well. Prior to 9/11, anytime that we would go to a crime scene, what would happen is we'd have to load up a squad car with whatever gear we thought we needed to go and process a crime scene, whether it's a burglary or a death investigation or a homicide or whatever. And you'd always find out you left the one thing in the room that you needed to have with you on the scene, back at the station, and you'd have to ask somebody to go get it for you. After 9/11, we ended up inheriting an old ambulance from the fire department and loaded it up with all of our equipment, and it became SRU-1, which served us real well for almost 10 years. And it couldn't make actually 10 years, it made 9 years. And again, the fire department came up with, they were getting a new ambulance, and we said, hey, we're about ready for another hand-me-down. So we negotiated with them to purchase one of their older ambulances, and lo and behold, we redecorated it, and now it's our SR2.
So first of all, the purpose of this truck, and most folks have been familiar now with this CSI term of crime scene investigation because of TV shows and so on. But first of all, the way you explained it, it's basically the storage place for all of your tools necessary for crime scene investigation.
Absolutely. Without having the proper tools, you're not doing much more than just collecting things in bags.
And this storage unit just happens to have wheels, so you can take it wherever you go when you go on to a scene.
Absolutely. It's a giant storage unit, but it has the benefit of allowing us to actually process things on the scene.
And how long has there been a team like this at
well, the village of Lansing has, I mean, as far as I know, since the courts allowed evidence technicians to present evidence in the court, has had people that were trained, but a program like ours has really been only in effect for 10 years. We have 8 people that are evidence technicians that rotate a schedule daily, so there's always an on-call evidence technician and guys on each shift, and now 2 supervisors too, so we can actually handle everything in-house where most agencies cannot.
So you don't have to go out of town or out of get other resources from out of the city. Normally, you've got everything you need here.
Very rarely do it. The only other resource that we would use is if it was a violent crime, the state would come in occasionally to help process that.
Well, we have been curious about this new, I don't want to call it a toy, but in some ways it almost feels that way.
It was a toy. The maiden voyage of it was the Labor Day parade, and it was only a day back from being painted, so and it was absolutely a toy that day.
I believe you meant the Good Neighbor Parade, because Labor Day is still coming, but that's right, the Good Neighbor Parade.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to see that. Now, talk a little bit about this particular unit and how it's an upgrade, and then we're eager to have you just maybe show us around and then show us inside. So
sure.
What is this? This was an old ambulance.
Yeah, this was an old fire department ambulance. It had it was 1992, and it's had enough mileage that they didn't want to have it in their fleet anymore. But for us, it's more important not to run on the road so much as just to get us there and then make sure that we can get home, so we don't have to put a lot of miles on it.
So it doesn't have to be this instant response vehicle, but it still needs to respond when you need it.
It doesn't need to go 75 miles an hour anymore. No, it just needs to be able to get me to a scene. And
so has anything happened on the outside that you need to make a difference between it and an ambulance?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, the logos just identify it as a police vehicle, and the fact that it our in-house guys, some of our guys are very talented on design, came up with the crime scene logo on the side and the little body a couple of years ago, and I think it just kind of is the emblem that fits, that people understand.
Your division or your department,
right? Of
the detectives primarily, then, right? Or?
Well, we're crime scene. We support the detectives, in our actions. So we're a little bit different. Most of our people come out of patrol, but the white chalk bodies, everybody gets it in their mind right away that it's crime scene.
So we see the logo here on the back, and then of course the police department logo as well. And it is usually then on a scene where it's going to be in the way, so therefore it has to have the typical lights and warning signs? Or?
It needs, unfortunately, all scenes are different, so you know what, you need to have emergency lighting all the time in order to, especially if it was we do crash investigation, so we'd be on the roadway, so we definitely need to allow people to know that there's a hazard on the roadway, and this is just great. It has lighting all the way around. We bring our extra lights to the party. We have storage and generator so that we can actually light up an area.
Why don't you walk us around, maybe start over here and kind of show us how you use this as a storage and what actually does a vehicle like this contain?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see here. We have, like I was talking about, lighting. If we needed, we had a scene not too long ago, maybe a year ago, where we were out in the woods here, and there's no outlets nearby, but we bring our own. We have our own lighting. We have a generator over here, so we actually we are self-sufficient as far as power goes, and
so
power
normally
is everything.
Would that generator just stay there and then fire up power the whole vehicle, or do you pull it out?
It has a switch box, so we actually shut it off from the rest of the vehicle. It can power up the vehicle as well for inside stuff, but we'll run it on its own for outdoor activity, you know.
Is it safe to say that a good percentage of your calls are going to be at night, and that's why you have to bring in your own light sources?
We have to be
and power
prepared
sources?
for every contingency, including rain, snow, sleet. So thankfully we have this vehicle that can bring everything that we need, and when we don't have something, we definitely write it down and try to budget in something that will make it better. So we're streamlining as we go.
So this side of the vehicle clearly is going to set you up. You've got your own power supply and you're ready to go. I see some fancy tubs there. What is that?
Well, we have like I said, not only now is this just a vehicle to bring things to a scene, but we have the ability to actually process a lot of evidence right on the scene. Before, we would have to take from people things and advise them, I'm going to be taking your curio cabinet and processing it, and they're like, well, when am I going to get it back? Well, now we have the ability to actually just go ahead and, with having the equipment right on hand, process much of that right on scene and then not ever take it from them.
There's some kind of a ladder.
Oh, we have a ladder.
What is that?
Yeah, we have a every vehicle needs to have a ladder. And,
you're not a fire department, but you
No.
probably have to get into places where you need something special. It's kind of a very unique fold-up ladder there, it looks like.
It is, but we got everything.
We're making him
packed pretty tight.
unpack his whole vehicle here just to show us a few cute little things here. But
Oh, yeah. Well, we are still working out the bugs of where we want things now. And,
all right, so
but we have access to actually call the fire department if we actually need bigger ladders or more ladders, but it's pretty convenient to have your own.
one of those cute little things. Wow.
And
So that's if you have to get into a second or third story, or have to get up
take
on.
a photograph above. We've used it just to shoot down on a photograph. Or yep,
Pretty
second
impressive.
story.
You know how to run that ladder real quickly, almost like a fireman there.
Not quite.
Sorry.
We'll see if I can actually not have it pinch my fingers on the way in. But it's
So
pretty
this
convenient
would,
tool.
this would be a standard piece of equipment, may I say, that many police departments are using now. This
I don't know if this just fit our personal situation. I mean,
so this isn't like a police issue type.
nope.
It's
This was
a
just something that we
convenient form
found that
of-
we enjoyed, and we said, you know what? It looks like something that would actually be able to incorporate
down
into our usage. So.
Well, it certainly becomes very compact, and
And that is the key. You can put it in a trunk of a car, so, or in this case, our new toy.
your new toy, your new truck.
Yep.
Very good. But let's continue our walk here a minute. I see a special response unit. That's the label of the team, but now what's in this door here?
the most important thing on any scene is to be able to contain it. So we have lots of crime scene tape, and we bring crime scene tape, accident scene for accident investigations. Like I said, not only do we just do CSI work, but we actually reconstruct accidents on the roadway, and that's pretty handy to have that be able to grab it rather than going in and out.
So explain what is important on an accident scene. I mean, there are measuring devices,
Measuring
there are
devices,
security devices.
Marking devices. We have hammers and cut nails to actually make permanent marks on the roadway, which you won't see or won't damage the roadway, but they'll permanently mark for us so that if we need to go back there, we can go back and have a spot or a location. We have all different kinds of measuring devices, little wheels, chalk, paint, everything you can imagine.
All the stuff folks have seen on TV.
Well, yeah, and it all looks glamorous on TV, but it's not so much when you're really working it. It's a lot of effort and a lot of time, and you don't stay clean. But it's nice to have it all in one place here.
It certainly is. Now, when we come to the front, we're obviously in the driver's seat or whatever. Is there anything unique about this vehicle compared with any other vehicle? No, any special needs that you have as a crime scene investigation?
Not much. You know, it's the standard. We didn't change anything from the ambulance this time. It's your basic light package and siren, which the only time it's going to get used is in the Good Neighbor Day parade, because I got it right this time.
Now, you had mentioned before the first truck was SRU-1. This is SRU-2. What does the SRU stand for?
Special Response Unit. Special
Response Unit.
Yep.
Now, if a person on the team, I should say the police force, wants to become part of this team, do they have to go through a special certification or training, or how does that happen?
Absolutely. First of all, when there's a slot available for somebody, what we do is we'll post it so that it's voluntary. They have to submit their name. They may have to submit a brief letter explaining why they would like to be in the unit. We review that. Once somebody is selected, the basic, they have a 40-hour course that you can take that makes you
40 hours.
40 hours. That starts it. That's just the start. That allows you to be certified by the state to be an evidence recovery specialist. All right. And once you have evidence recovery, then the training is unlimited. Northwestern has a program that I've gone through.
So it's an ongoing process.
It's never stopping. It always constantly is going.
Do they have to be certified in any way by any outside agency, or it's more just the police department says we want the best of what we can get?
Right. The first 40 hours is you are certified. When you're done, you take a test and you are certified by the state, all right, to be an evidence technician.
Okay.
But after that, then the training just goes. And some guys come in the police station with training or degrees that are beneficial, like computer science, which is lots of forensics is computer science these days.
Or there's some chemical background or
mine's chemistry and biology. So
there you go.
Which is very helpful. That's the reason why I enjoy it so much, and, because it's not only police work, but it's science work too.
All right, well, let's continue to walk around here a minute. I'm just really enjoying the paint job. How about you? It looks a lot different.
Oh my gosh, you know what?
SRU-1, right?
The SRU-1 was a nice truck, and it was definitely a workhorse that got a lot of time in. But this one was a joy to drive in the parade this year, because people actually oohed and ahed about this, which is. It made me feel good. It's nice to actually drive something that looks, like people are like, wow, that's all right.
Not like working out of the back of a pickup truck.
Exactly, and that's about where we were at. So,
this is kind of a mirror image of the other side in terms of the closet.
As far as closets and stuff, that's just what it is. That's why it's so perfect. Is there's so much storage in an ambulance that we are able to, put in 90% of our gear. Obviously, there's a few things that we don't want here all the time, but this has just about everything we need. Gun boxes, if we collect guns. We have flares, emergency flares. We have butcher block paper. When we collect things, and we can put it on there, fold it up, and then put it in another bag. That's a battery compartment for the vehicle, so there's no real
an extra power source for the battery engine and the lights and so on.
Yep. And then we have our standard evidence technician bag that's got your fingerprint dust, your fingerprint, all different kinds of powders, your brushes.
Okay.
You know, just a quick bag that you can take anywhere, kind of like a reduced version of this whole vehicle, and bags so that you can actually put things in, and it just makes it nice that you don't have to run back and forth unless you really need something out of the big
Now,
truck.
is it your job, Sergeant Pressman, to make sure these things are all kept current and like they're ready to go after the next project?
Well, like
or-
in every good housekeeping parent, you have to. The guys are supposed to, you know, restock their stuff and keep it so the next guy has it the same way you got it. But obviously, some cases are very time consuming and late at night, and they get called out. And I understand that sometimes the ball gets dropped. So occasionally, like quarterly, I'll go through and make sure that everything is at a basic level, you know, stocked and ready to go. But
This is actually a little suitcase form with wheels so that you
Oh,
can
it's-
run
yeah.
it into the whatever place you have to go as well.
exactly, you know, and it's everybody's got it set up so it's all the same, so we all understand there you got your brushes and your powders and everything to do basic fingerprint lifting. Last compartment that we have is our biological contaminants. You know, obviously we're on scenes that have a lot of blood occasionally. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. And you have to protect yourself. So we are.
These are your suits and your gloves and.
Yeah, we have Tyvek suits. We have rubber gloves. We have anti-putrefaction masks because sometimes, unfortunately, things get pretty old and smelly, and you don't want to expose yourself to any harmful agent at all trying to service the village. You know, so we do take the care of our own guys and make sure that they're properly fitted, and so there's no
Excellent.
danger for them.
Now, it's different than a fire department where you have to suit up to be protected from the fire and the smoke, but you do have to have some protective clothing as well, and the truck carries all of that. You
Yeah.
don't wear that all the time.
No, not all the time. I mean, I strongly urge guys to use anytime they're using chemicals or powders. We supplied dust masks, HEPA filter masks, but that's up to them whether or not they use it or not.
How is the inside used? And I mean, forgive me, are you carting bodies off to various places, or are there big chunks of evidence that a truck has to haul?
Mostly we do not transport body. Body is, if there's ever an incident where a body is involved, that is under the direction of the medical examiner. So we will never transport any human bodies. But as far as evidence goes, absolutely. That's the nice part about this, is that it's large enough that we can take a lot of evidence.
Well,
And,
show us it. Did you paint the inside?
No,
You put
no,
some
we,
nice interior too, or?
No, we just got rid of the stretcher for the most part. That's and the stretcher mounting, so that the area where there would be a patient now is a workable area or storage when you are bringing out a lot of evidence. And it has, again, there's much more equipment in here. There's, for all kind of varied types of evidence recovery, like footwear, and if you need big tools, we have everything. We have our own toolboxes and drills and everything that you can have.
Now, these are your tools. You can transport some things, evidences or whatever, back. They don't get stored here.
No.
There's, I assume, another place for all of that stuff to go. Do you have a laboratory in
Right,
addition
we have
to
a
that?
laboratory in the police station here, which is just another next step to this. And then after that, if we can't do or are unable to process something comfortably, then the next step is taking it to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab. And the crime lab they have all the resources.
Would you ever be using this for some kind of laboratory kind of experiment? When you're on scene, how many hours are you on scene, for example, and do you have to come here and actually use this place for?
Absolutely, this gets used as a like the fuming tubs that were on the other side. That's for using super glue fuming. Everybody's seen it on TV where you take an object that may have been handled by somebody and you heat up super glue and it fumes, and then it actually helps visualize the latent fingerprint. Well, we can do that all in here, and we have, depending on the weather This is a real handy. I personally wouldn't fume something in there if it was a nice day like it is today, because it fumes. The term fume doesn't sound good at all, but occasionally, yes, we do use it as a laboratory.
Would you mind going in with one of the cameras and just kind of showing us a little
Sure.
bit of what you all have here in the truck? So,
All right. Well, basically, what we have, like what I talked about earlier, is that we have all kinds of extra gear. We have tools, sawzalls, all your general tools that you would have at a house: screwdrivers, hammers, anything that you would need you'd need tool-wise. We pretty much carry, and then we go into more CSI particular things like alternative light sources. We have different kinds of lighting, different wavelengths of light in order to look for certain specific types of evidence, whether it's blood or semen or small fibers. These are specific wavelengths, and they are pretty helpful. We have a larger version of the same thing, which is a UV light, very large light. It's about $800 piece of equipment, so we have to have somewhere not only to store it but store it safely. So, because we are rough, there's no doubt about it. So we have that. We have an emergency blanket, obviously, in case somebody's injured or cold. We can actually heat them up. Or extra flashlights, because flashlights are important. Arson supplies. Our cans are basically, they're just sterile paint cans, but they're used for arson collection. Bags, because the bags are the most important thing that we have. We collection bags. We have different types of biofoam for footwear. Now this day and age is all DNA related, so we have lots of DNA collection supplies. We have individual boxes, and we have everything's DNA has integrity seals, so that there's no way that it starts out contaminated. They're already sealed, and then there's a proper techniques to ensure that we're not cross-contaminating anything. And then pretty much rubber gloves are important, and then our office supply stuff. You can't go anywhere without having a piece of paper and a pencil. And then last but not least is our camera systems. I mean, we have 2 cameras that we run. We run just like you guys. The cameras are the backbone of the business. So we have a couple of Rebel EOS cameras that are used to record the scene as we see it, and that's pretty much about it.
You also use video, Sergeant Protzman?
No, we do not. Cook County and our agency does not use video on any crime scenes at this time. Just still video or still photos.
Well, having this whole facility, in essence, on wheels, must give you a real sense of, may I say, organization, and that you don't worry about responding to the next call because you've got everything you need?
Exactly. Our confidence level, of just being able to have your equipment at hand, you're right there and ready to go. Sorry,
Now,
I got a little hot in there.
Yeah.
You notice without the air on there, that's not the place you want to be very long.
Well, you look good no matter what,
Sure.
Sergeant Protzman. Now, just a couple of other questions. It's typical for a community or residents right now, with the economy the way it is, to say, well, wow, that's a pretty fancy tool for Lansing to have. Do we really have that much need of a tool like this? And it must be very expensive. Talk a little bit about both the need and, again, the process of how this came about within the budget of the police department.
With everything that's going on in Illinois and in Lansing, budget is paramount, and we have shrunk down to the bare minimums. That's why there's not as much as I would like to show you of things. Back in the day when we were able to purchase some of the higher end pieces of equipment, we were in a prosperous time, but we were very fortunate that we never bought anything that we didn't need. Okay, and what we are right now is just surviving with our equipment. And we're changing things. We're using plain paper bags instead of bags that are pre-printed that say evidence on there. we don't need to have a change. As far as the vehicle goes, like I said, it was a hand-me-down from the fire department. I mean, we made a deal. We traded a seized vehicle that we had in our fleet to them as a equal trade, and then we used money from drug seizure fund, because we use this to support our tactical officers when they do their warrants. We use it to actually go and photograph where they recovered drugs from, and because of that drug usage, we were able to take money from our drug seizure fund and to paint the vehicle.
So in essence, it has cost the village very little to have this updated tool, if I may say that, for its SRU
Yeah,
team.
we stayed within a budget that was extremely small in order to service the people in the village better, and still, think budget. And we were thinking wise. Everybody prospered from this. The fire department got a vehicle that they were looking for. The old ambulance that we had went to Public Works, and we're still now upgraded on what we have. Yeah, it cost a little bit for the paint, but that money came from people who were doing bad anyway. And
now you mentioned also, Sergeant Protzman, that the police department is barely, or just making it. What I mean by that is you're using the bare minimums, you don't have any excess, but dream a little bit. If you had your druthers a year from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, thinking of your team and this vehicle, what does the CSI unit really need here in Lansing?
One that I could stand upright in, that would be great. But
that would be one of those big trucks you're saying.
Yeah. But really, I don't think we want for a lot. We are very established. We're very streamlined already. It would just be a matter of having the budget free up where we could actually process even more crime scenes than the ones that we are selected to process right now.
So what you're basically saying to any resident who's watching, that Lansing is state of the art, the police department is state of the art within its budget, and it really is it doesn't have to want for anything compared with other communities.
Well, I would have to agree 100% with that, because the state officer or special agent that comes to do an assist in violent crimes, she has said over and over again that she enjoys coming to Lansing because we are scored away, we're dialed in, we have the equipment, we know how to use it, and we've had the training for our people. And I like to hear that, especially as a supervisor, that she's comfortable being here and working in Lansing. And I know for a fact that other than Calumet City, who has an outstanding program as well, I think bar none, we're high speed for the area. We absolutely, for the south side of Chicago, we have a pretty good team, pretty good equipment, enough that I think we were asked several times to actually assist other agencies, including out in Indiana, for our crime scene ability.
Well, we are very grateful that you took the time. I was a little worried when the radios went off that you were going to get one of these special calls and all of a sudden had to fly off. But thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for taking the time. And if a resident has a question about not only the value of the CSI, but what the police department can do or isn't doing related to crime scene investigation, are you available for answering those questions or speaking to a group or anything like that?
Sure, I always look forward to speaking to any group that would like to hear a little bit more about crime scene. Plus, we also have a yearly Citizens Academy where you actually will get a full class on the crime scene investigations, and I give you the lowdown of how things really work and how it's not like TV.
Well, Sergeant Robert Protzman.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Music Man, I guess.
That's all right.
Robert Protzman. We're just grateful for the time, and also that we have a team like yours here in the village of Lansing to serve the community. We wish you many happy hours, or many successful hours, I guess I should say, in the use of this vehicle.
Well, thank you very much, and it is my pleasure always to serve the community.
Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.